guys are ridiculous. These guys are ridiculous.
Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another episode of the How About Them Celtics podcast. Sam and I are here recording on Wednesday, October 19th, the night after the Celtics season opener against the Philadelphia 76ers. And I couldn't have really asked for much more. The Celtics look great. Celtics are back. Celtics season is back. Celtics have the best record in the league right now while we're recording this. The Sixers have the worst record in the league while we're recording this because it's 1-0 and 0-1 respectively. But opening night, I would say, was a resounding success for Boston. I'm hyped. It got me amped up for the season. I don't know about you, Sam, but I can imagine.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm happy to be wrong. And I told you I would be happy to be wrong. I really thought they would lose yesterday. They hate playing in games where there's any kind of special thing going on. They got slapped around when Pierce got his jersey retired. They lost when KG had his jersey retired. They lost Game 6 of the conference finals where they really could have had just a 2-hour coronation if they wanted. But they came out yesterday, balled out, started the game fast, kind of fell behind, but then responded real well. The defense was there. I mean, despite not having Rob Williams, despite your paper-thin rotation at the big man position, you're looking fine against Embiid. Sure, Horford Grant got into foul trouble, right? Noah Vonleh was fine. He wasn't great to start.
That's all you need him to be, though. You just need him to be fine.
Yeah, and especially against Embiid, who was second in MVP voting the last 2 seasons, I think.
Yeah.
I know for sure last year, but I think the season before as well. You're really getting something there. I mean, this is a guy that wasn't even in the league last year. And he's out there guarding Embiid. I believe he played more minutes than Horford did.
And he was about 3 minutes short, but he did. He played the most minutes. He played the most minutes out of any big man outside of Horford, though. So I'll give you that. And Grant, but he doesn't count.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely fantastic debut for Vonleh. Mm-hmm. And then Tatum and Brown each have 35 apiece.
Oh, baby.
And I'm sure I haven't seen it actually, but people love the stat that they've never lost when they both scored 30. And I contend that I'm not sure that ever happens. I'd love to know how many teams have actually lost a game where they had 2 guys score 30 points. I don't think it happens.
It doesn't happen often. I think, and I could be crazy, I think vaguely, in the back part of my mind, I remember something last year about the Timberwolves losing a game where 2 people scored 30, but I could be making that up. That could be a completely made up thing, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Plastering that all over the place after Tatum and Brown play well. They're like, oh, they never lose when they play well. Look, if they could play together, blah, blah, blah. Well, no, they just scoring an ungodly amount of points. And they were both real efficient. Nobody was forcing yesterday. Tatum actually showed up at an early season game. Can you believe it? What a great way to kick off the season. The only way it could have been better is if they were wearing the home whites. But I digress,
Okay. We got to stop there for a sec. I agree. Home whites at home. You've convinced me over the years. I personally don't care as much, but I'm not going to sit here and fight you on that point. I really don't hate the jerseys that much. On the court, I don't hate the new statement jerseys. I love the font. My only gripe is I wish it was the normal green rather than the forest green because that's pretty annoying. But I don't hate the jerseys that much. And do you still hate them as much as you did originally?
I like the font. Wish they were the different color green, like you said. I just wish when they had these alternate jerseys, they were more like alternates. They really wear the hell out of these things. This year, I think they're only supposed to wear them 11 times, but I remember when they had the banner jerseys a few years ago, it felt like they were wearing them every game.
All the time.
And I think these jerseys would look good if they wore them on the road. I just don't like when they don't wear the home jerseys at home. It really bothers me. If you want to play around on the road, or if it's St. Patrick's Day, wear the alternates or the greens at home. That's it.
If there was a time to wear a different jersey at home, it's the one Bill Russell helped design on Bill Russell night. I'll give him that. Give him that. That can be the exception. But anyways, back to opening night. Big win over the 76ers. Like you said, Tatum and Brown dropped 35 points. But, and this is a big one for me, the key to Jayson Tatum and Jalen Brown scoring 35 points apiece is they drove the basketball, Sam. What were we begging them to do all last season?
We'll
Get to the
drive,
rim,
but also
not only
make
get
their
to the rim,
layups.
exactly, finish at the rim, and they did that. Jayson Tatum looked for the floater. Jalen Brown got inside the arc and worked. I mean, hell, you saw Jayson Tatum pump fake a three, step in and take a mid-range shot, Sam. That's your bread and butter. That's what you wanted to see. It was absolutely beautiful to watch Jayson Tatum and Jalen Brown get inside the paint rather than just shoot threes from the outside. It was amazing.
It felt like they kind of got lucky on some of the floaters they were throwing up and everything, because there were a
Sure.
lot of possessions where it looked like they were out of control going inside and just getting bailed out time after time, and the ball was dropping. Fine. Would they shoot 58% from the game? Something like that?
Something
Like
ridiculous, yeah.
close to 60%. You're not going to get that every day. However, they were still getting good shots. They shot upwards of 73% from inside the arc last night.
Mhm.
So that's telling me they're getting quality looks. They're not forcing. They are getting to the rim more. And I also think, I'm sure we'll get to it, but Brogdon deserves recognition as well, because
Oh, yeah.
he made things easier on those two guys. And that's kind of what we talked about all offseason, was how can things become easier for Tatum and Brown? They're the two best players on the team, two of the best players in the league, and they're going to see the focus of the defense. So now that you've got Brogdon out there, who's a legitimate scorer, what do you have, 16 points yesterday off the bench?
Yep.
And he looked great, looked confident,
And
was
4
getting to the
assists.
basket.
Huge.
He had assists. Marcus played well. Grant played well.
Mhm.
All these guys played well yesterday. So you could kind of say, like, well, that's not going to happen every day, which is true. But they made the most out of everything. And I'm really glad things kicked off on a positive note for Joe Mazzulla.
Yep.
A lot of praise going around about him today on Twitter.
Rightfully so.
He's saying some good things. I mean, it had everything yesterday. I'm not going to keep rambling. I'll let you have a little bit of a crack at it. But they played well yesterday. Nothing really you could have asked for more. They cleaned up the turnovers, which were an issue. There weren't a bunch of offensive rebounds that were going Philly's way, like I felt there may be going into the game. We didn't see that. We didn't see sloppiness yesterday, really. We did not see it.
Keith Smith tweeted it out. It was something along the lines of, let me get the stat real quick before I butcher it. The Celtics allowed 3 offensive rebounds in the first 10 minutes or so. They allowed 1 the rest of the game. It was like you said, it was a mess to start the game, and then they cleaned it up almost immediately, which was great to see. Embiid finished with 15 boards of his own, but Jayson Tatum finished with 12, which is what he needs to do if the Celtics are going to be missing their big guys, which they will be for the majority of the season. I mean, you saw the mental switch of Jaylen and Jayson and all the guys. As soon as the offensive rebounds started to come in, those 3 in the first 10 minutes, they were going for the rebounds. They were getting in the paint. They were searching for them, which is exactly what needs to happen while Robert Williams was out. So that was great to see.
Embiid, by the way, I forgot how much he hits the floor.
He does. And I want to talk about that.
For somebody that's 280 pounds, he has the worst balance that you will ever see, in quotes. Obviously, he's flopping around. But
of course,
it is absolutely asinine how much Embiid falls. And he gets rewarded for it. And I am the biggest anti-Harden guy ever, but I think Embiid kind of overshadowed him yesterday. Harden got the calls on the threes, which we all know how I feel about that. I think they need to curb that. They need to put an end to unless you're getting like absolutely like hammered or hit on the arm, I'm sorry, it should not be a foul.
I like the rule.
Or if somebody's deliberately trying to like hurt you by stepping under you or sweep your legs. But the first foul that was a flagrant on Horford was ridiculous. Horford inside the 3-point line. Harden jumps forward, and Horford legitimately stops himself, turns his foot away, and Harden still lands on him and falls.
Well,
how is this still happening?
I agree with you in that one. I like the rule because I don't think you should be able to dangerously close out and get under players because it is dangerous, like we've seen. But
that's what I said. You don't want to have them trying to hurt each other.
Exactly.
But if somebody's shooting a 3, you have to be there. Like you have to close out.
And that one in particular, I said this on Twitter, that should have been an offensive foul, if a foul at all. I don't think it should have been a foul. But per last year's rules, you're not allowed to kick your leg out into opposing player. James Harden kicked his left leg out in an abnormal shooting motion to step on Horford's foot and get the foul call. That was not.
And
that
they
was a
went and looked
ridiculous
at
call.
it and said flagrant.
Yeah, that was a bad one. That was a really bad one. But there were a few bad calls, I guess you could say, calls the Celtics didn't necessarily agree with, including one where Tatum picked up a tech and then they reversed the foul call because they were wrong, but Tatum still got a tech. That was ridiculous. But what I liked about
I always
the Celtics,
get a kick out of that.
It was great, right?
I think
about
if you challenge, this is not a new take, but if you challenge something and somebody gets a tech and it gets overturned, the tech should go away because they were
100%. Easily. But what I liked about the Celtics was Al Horford did this because Grant Williams talked about it and Joe Mazzulla did it. They composed themselves. They tried their best to let the refs do what they were going to do, whether or not it was right or they agreed with it, or whatever. And they moved on with their game and they played their game. And that's exactly what needed to do. Also, I'll say if you're watching on YouTube, I apologize if you see me mute and sniffle or anything like that. It is freezing and my nose is running, so I'm dying a little bit out here. It's very cold in my room. But anyways, moving on. You mentioned Brogdon. I do want to circle back to that before we get into the Smart Embiid incident because we're obviously going to talk about that as well. Malcolm Brogdon looked like everything you wanted him to be coming into the season. He was as close to perfect as you could possibly ask for, in my opinion. I tweeted that out. He passed the ball well, but more importantly, in my opinion, he was able to be a secondary creator. As soon as he got the ball in the corner or on the wing, he was driving to the paint and he was doing, stuff with the ball that other offensive options on the Celtics couldn't do last year. And that's exactly why they brought him in. He's the perfect complement to Jayson Tatum and Jalen Brown. And his impact was felt immediately. And I think if he can continue to be at this level and he plays enough games, I think he could be in the running for Sixth Man of the Year by the end of the season.
Well, not only that, but he stepped up at an important part of the game. Throughout the playoffs last season, we would talk about, obviously, okay, if they kicked a game away at the end, right? But that always is not it. There are crucial moments throughout basketball games where it's important for teams to execute and score, and it can save a game. And in the second quarter, we saw Philadelphia kind of heating up. I think they made like 8 shots in a row or something crazy like that. And Malcolm Brogdon came down and scored 2 or 3 in a row on his own. And he really looked comfortable after that. And then he started getting to the basket. It's crazy how quick he is because you kind of didn't know that or not know that.
I didn't expect him to be that quick.
It wasn't looking you right in the face when he joined the team. And he was free. They gave up, reminder, they gave up nothing for Brogdon. Nothing. And he was excellent yesterday. And hopefully he continues to do so.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And a quiet shout out, I guess, to Grant Williams, because I didn't know he had 15 points. Like, that was the quietest 15 points I've seen in a long time. He ended up shooting, let's see, from 3.
5 for 5.
5 for 5 from the field, 3 of 3 from 3-point range, 15 points. He didn't rebound much. You didn't dish out assists or anything, but you don't need him to. You need him to play defense and you need him to shoot threes and score the ball. He was great off the dribble. He had that nice reverse layup. He looked like he was starting a contract year, and that's because he is. The Celtics and him didn't come to agreement on an extension. I know. I agree as well. You know me. But it looks like he's ready, and I have to assume the Celtics are good and hoping to match in restricted free agency next year. Because he looked great in the opener. I thought Grant did everything he was supposed to do, very quietly too, in a quiet 24-ish minutes. And
he was doing everything they needed him to do. He played pretty decent defense. He was making his shots, obviously shooting 100%. 3 of them were from downtown. And again, the creation you saw yesterday, he hit a step back 3. He pump faked, let the defender go past, sidestepped and stepped back and didn't even hit the rim. Swish. He made the reverse layup off the cut, which was off a drive created by a pump fake, if I'm not mistaken. These were the things in the pregame that I was talking to Tim about before you got there. We saw shades of this in the preseason. He has taken what the defense is giving him. Now everybody's aware he can shoot the ball. Shot over 40% last year, right, Jack?
From 3, he shot 41%.
Or close to it.
41.
Okay, 41. Everybody knows. Secret's out. Now you have to guard him. So what does he do? He goes over the offseason and gets better at making the defense have to work. You can't just fly out and close out at Grant because he can take you off the dribble now. He can finish around the rim. I mean, we saw in the preseason, we saw him put a nice move on Charlotte. hesitating at the 3-point line, driving, getting an easy bucket. If Grant continues to do things like that, he's going to be a real force off the bench. He's not just going to be a PJ Tucker where he's just standing there. He's going to be able to get his own looks. That's huge.
Yeah.
It's a shame they didn't pay him, man. I don't know. What are you benefiting from that if you're the Celtics? Nothing. I don't think, unless he really hurts himself, which you don't want, there's no way they benefit from this.
Yeah, I mean, I thought they should have paid him. But it is what it is. They'll probably look to match in restricted free agency. And maybe it wasn't necessarily on the Celtics side. Maybe if you're Grant, you're betting on yourself and you're hoping to make a little more money after a good season this year because he's going to have more stuff to do with Robert Williams out, more duties on the team. So it's possible that played a part in it as well. So you have to consider that. Side note, I did want to talk about Hauser because we didn't really see much of him. We saw very minimal, Hauser minutes. 3 minutes, 19 seconds is what he finished with. He didn't get a shot up. He picked up a foul, and that was the only stat he earned. What do you make of that? I mean, we were on here spewing 10 points per game for Hauser, which now seems a bit foolish in hindsight. But
I don't know if it's foolish, and I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
The matchups last night did not call for Hauser. It didn't make sense. What are you going to do with him out there? If you have Embiid working in the post and you have to double team and help on him, is Hauser the guy you want to send to help? Is Hauser the guy you want to put in rotation? No. It just was a game where he didn't really fit into the team's best interest. That's why you saw a lot of Vonleh. I don't think Vonleh is going to play over 20 minutes a night, whatever he got yesterday, consistent. Like, it's just not going to happen. That doesn't mean Hauser's cooked after one game. Just means it wasn't the time. Didn't make sense. You didn't see Pritchard yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean he's never going to see the floor? That's more likely. I believe that more than Hauser. No, seriously. It's unfortunate. I like Pritchard, and I think he's given them a lot of good things in the 2 seasons he's played for the Celtics. But where is his spot with this team?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I think you'll see him more when you go against smaller lineups because that Philly lineup is probably pretty big in comparison, at least with Embiid out there to hunt mismatch, like you said. And 2 extremely dynamic guards, I will say, in Harden and Maxey that you're going to have trouble against. But a
Harden
team
who dribbled the ball over 500 times.
Did he? Is that a stat or is that a meme?
He dribbled more times yesterday than literally everybody else on his team combined.
I didn't know that. That's funny.
I forget who retweeted it. It might have been Keith.
Wow. I'm writing that down. That's going to be a TikTok clip. Watch out for that. If you're here from TikTok, that was a clip right there.
That's me.
There you go.
Please keep being mean to me.
Please do. Sam was getting cooked on the TikToks the other day, but that's okay. Because
Sam gets cooked for being right. Podcast. The more I thought about that, I was like, I'm right.
You were right. That's why I was telling you because I thought it was funny. Anyways, let's bite the bullet. Let's rip the Band-Aid off. Let's talk about the Marcus Smart, Joel Embiid incident. I assume you have the same take as me. Marcus Smart talked about it after the game, so I'll lead with that, and then I'll get your thoughts on it because like I said, I assume you have the same one. This is the quote from Marcus Smart on the Joel Embiid incident. Went for a rebound, basketball play. Went for the steal, basketball play. Referee blows his whistle, calls a foul. I stop play. My arm's stuck in there, and he tries to break it. And then I'm the only one who gets a tech. I mean, everybody saw it. I don't have to keep talking about it. If I did that, I'm probably ejected, suspended 3 games, 4 games, fines. But the fact that I was the only one who got something out of it is kind of beyond me, especially the defending DPOY. That's how he gets treated. It's tough. But like I said, it's maturity. I could have cracked his head open, but I didn't. And that's the maturity we have. So we move on from it. It is what it is, and we can control what we can control. And he's absolutely right. That was a dirty play from Embiid. I won't hear anything else on it. And then, as Grant Williams said, Embiid fell over when Marcus Smart grazed his ankle. If you look at the replay again, he grazed it. He didn't even grab it. He barely touched his ankle. He
fell the wrong way.
Exactly. He fell the wrong way. It was a FIFA fall.
He realized what happened and said, I have to sell this, and then fell the wrong way.
It was absolutely garbage, and it was made worse. The fact that Smart, got a foul on that, because it wasn't a foul. Or actually, no, it was a reach-in foul.
No, that's a foul. We talked about, I believe it was Gabe Vincent that went down and tripped somebody in the playoffs last year, and it was a big thing. I think they called a flagrant. on something very similar. So I thought he would get a flagrant. He got a tech, so I guess it's a little different.
Yeah, but regardless, Embiid should have gotten a tech for swinging Marcus's arm like that after the whistle. Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, it was dangerous. It was absolutely
Yes.
dangerous the way he had his arm caught. Embiid knew what he was doing. I don't think Embiid's a dirty player, but that sequence there was kind of dirty. And they have a history of getting into it. There's beef there for sure. So why? I mean, Marcus is right. If he does that, people are saying how he's a dirty player. I mean, he dove for a loose ball into Steph Curry, and Curry got hurt last spring, and people are calling him a dirty player.
Yep.
Really? He's a dirty player, but there's nothing wrong with that? And in the popular opinion is not that there was nothing wrong with that. It's just crazy that there was nothing done about it in the game. And they looked
Exactly. I agree. And Marcus was right. If he did that, he would have gotten fined or something, or
that's what I'm saying.
Rejected.
He did something last season where he just made a basketball play and dove after a ball, and everybody was out with pitchforks and torches because he hurt Steph Curry. And he didn't do anything. He didn't do what Embiid did yesterday. Yeah. He just was playing the way he plays, which is why everybody here loves him so much. And everybody was painting him as the bad guy. Did an injury happen? Yeah, he didn't do it on purpose. He was just making a play. There's nothing wrong with what he did. Embiid was completely different. The play was dead. His arm was stuck. And if anything, even if it wasn't dirty, what he did was unnecessary. It was really, it was like an exaggerated movement, maybe a flop, to try and get attention that they were tangled up.
Yeah. I thought it was dirty. I think he definitely knew he had Smart's hand in there. He yanked it too. Smart like extended his arm in a bad way that could have been a lot worse than it was. So hopefully he's fine moving forward. But it was ugly to watch, and it was nice to see Jalen Brown go over to defend him though, because Jalen Brown marched right over there, pointed his finger in Embiid's face, and told him off, which was fun. I'm honestly surprised Jalen Brown didn't get a tech too at the situation. I thought all three should have gotten techs, but just Marcus, apparently. Just Marcus.
Well, that was clearly phony because everybody knows all those guys hate Marcus. They can't stand him.
The refs?
I mean, that's all the narrative has been for years, is how much they hate Marcus Smart. And that, I'm being sarcastic. You look very
okay.
concerned.
The Celtics players. I thought you were talking about the referees. I was confused what you were talking about. I get it.
The horror on Jack's face when I'm just being sarcastic.
Well, I was just like, what is this guy talking about? Right
now? Those guys have, I mean, that's exactly what Brown should do. That's your teammate. Uh-huh. He's being treated unfairly. He's in a hostile situation. You go in there and defend him. Absolutely. Excellent job. Well done. And also to circle back to the Sports Illustrated cover, the three had, the report was it was supposed to be just Tatum and Brown. They said, no, Marcus is in this too. So this is your second instance in, I don't know, maybe month and a half where you've seen like a real public camaraderie or defending of Marcus Smart. People love to try and drive the wedge. Oh, these guys hate each other. Oh, Marcus isn't a real point guard. Oh, Marcus isn't a leader. Well, they all think so.
And you know what pisses me off? Marcus Smart played really well last night. Let's not gloss over that.
I thought he was great.
He didn't shoot the ball well, but he's not going to. He's Marcus Smart. If you're expecting him to shoot, 38% from three at this point, you're just, I don't know what to tell you anymore. But 14 points, 3 rebounds, 7 assists. But the entire narrative since Brogdon has joined the team has been, oh, the Celtics finally have a real point guard. That is, I just think that's the most bogus narrative that everybody in the national media continues to push. You heard SVG on the call talk about it. Brian Anderson, both of them.
Brian Anderson not on the call yesterday.
Who was
we were all blessed. Ian Eagle.
Oh yes, love.
Who's just as bad national basketball wise.
All right. But my point.
No, I'm not done because there's a lot to complain about here. One, all right. If you're going to make a game national and have it be exclusive rights, at least don't have it be a dumpster fire. We're sitting there watching this game. I'm wondering if my TV's off. So is everybody else because the audio was out of sync. You were having the game spoiled for you if you weren't deaf. You could hear if the shot went in as he was going up to take the jumper. How are you going to rob fans of a local broadcast with Mike Gorman and take the exclusive rights if you cannot get the sound right? Not only that, now, I do understand there was a ring ceremony on the other coast, so you're not going to get the A team.
Yeah.
But if you're going to rob us of one of the all-time greats, I mean, at least it wasn't Brian Anderson, who has been calling the MLB playoffs and just encapsulating every moment of excitement to the finest degree.
You are not a Brian Anderson fan.
No, he's horrible. None of the national guys are really good except Harlan.
I like Breen.
Yeah, Breen. Breen's excellent. I meant on TNT.
Oh,
Please
okay,
do not think I had no respect for Breen. Mark Jones is okay. Like,
I like Mark Jones actually a lot.
Yeah,
when
he's
Mark
fine.
Jones and Doris Burke do the broadcast, I enjoy it. But anyways,
I don't know. Stop screwing around. I mean, you have one of the best broadcasters of all time. You're robbing us of, and you can't even get the sound on your game right. The
sound was infuriating.
Mediocre commentary team. You've got the sound off. You've got all these crappy camera angles. I regretted not buying a ticket to the game yesterday more than you would believe. I was thinking about it when the schedule dropped. I was like, do I want to go? Do I want to go? And none of my friends wanted to cough up the money, so I didn't go. And there I was on my couch in absolute shambles as I knew what was going to happen before I saw it because I had already heard it.
It was brutal. The audio was awful, especially when you started hearing the whistle twice. That was absolutely infuriating.
Yeah, then they tried to fix it. So they were taking what I caught on, what I think was happening.
I saw it too.
Is the sideline camera angle was behind, and this is another thing. The sideline camera angle was behind the baseline or whatever alternate angles they had.
Mm-hmm.
And the audio they were using was from the alternate angles. So that's why you were getting the game spoiled. And also, when they would cut from an alternate angle to the sideline or vice versa, there would be a time jump.
Yep. It was terrible.
Because it was off.
It was really, really
You
bad.
are a national broadcast. How does that happen? I'm more passionate about this than anything that happened in the game yesterday.
It was especially impressive because you'd think for like the opening NBA game of the season, they'd try to be on point, but it was
the very
just
first game,
giant,
the very
disaster.
first one everybody's watching.
It was an utter disaster. There was a massive failure from TNT.
And they never fixed it.
No, they didn't. They didn't fix it. They had the entirety of halftime to fix it, and they did not. They just did
halftime, commercial breaks, you name it, they had it, and they did nothing. Well, they did something because then you started having the double sounds. They tried, they just couldn't do it.
They made it worse. It was worse with the double sounds. So anyways, circling back, I was just saying that I think it's ridiculous that the entire narrative in the national media is the Celtics finally have a real point guard. Because they had a real point guard last year. His name was Marcus Smart. He averaged most assists of his career. He was the first Celtics point guard to lead Jayson, Tatum, and Jalen Brown. Help lead them to the finals. The problem wasn't they don't have a point guard. The problem was they needed more playmaking. There's a difference. You can have a point guard and still need more playmaking on the roster because last year, Marcus Smart was the only playmaking on the roster, right? It was him and Jayson Tatum who was just learning how to be that playmaker. Now they have 2 point guards, a great starting point guard, a great backup point guard. Jayson Tatum's a better ball handler. Derek White is more comfortable with the team. That is the storyline, not the Celtics finally have a point guard. That really frustrates me. And I just wanted to rant about that quick, but I understand you had to take over with your TNT ring because we did need to talk about that too.
Yeah, I had thought about it at the beginning of the show and then I forgot. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to forget this again. We need to talk about it. And I'm the biggest Marcus guy. I completely agree with you. I think it's really horrible that people don't want to give him credit. He wasn't the best player on the floor yesterday, but he was fine. He's doing everything he needs to do. And he has done everything right since taking over the starting spot at point guard.
Yes.
He has stopped taking ill-advised shots. He's not forcing things. In the preseason, you saw him screw around a little bit, but you really don't see that. in real games.
I was going to say he played bad in the preseason, but he looked great in the opener, which is what matters.
Give the man his credit. I mean, what do you want out of him? Like you said, led the team to the finals. You had Kyrie on this team, and they couldn't get past the second round. You had Kemba on this team, they couldn't get to the finals. Marcus is the guy in the starting spot. Granted, Tatum and Brown both progressed during that time, but that was the team. That was the team that got you to the finals. And again, Tatum has improved his playmaking. Brogdon was another playmaker. Derek White gives you stuff. Everybody on the team can do it. Jalen Brown had a decent night too. He was pretty alert out there. Did miss Tatum wide open under the basket, screaming with his hands up early in the game. But I didn't see Jaylen being as reckless as he was in the playoffs, which was encouraging to me. That was one thing I was kind of looking out for. He didn't get off to a scorching start like you thought he might.
Slow to start,
but was not just handing the ball to Philadelphia, which is good progress.
Good.
That's what happens when you go for a swim, right?
I agree exactly. And Smart only took 8 shots last night, right? Like that's probably the perfect amount for Marcus, in my opinion, unless he's getting open from behind the 3-point line. Then you kind of have to take the open threes. We've had that discussion before, but we don't have to get into it. But he also attempted 8 free throws. He did a good job getting to the line. That was second most on the team behind Tatum. So shout out Marcus. I thought he played great. Led the team in assists, which is exactly what you want from him. Drew a charge on was it Embiid he drew the charge on? He drew a charge on somebody.
He drew an offensive foul.
It was Harrell, right?
He drew multiple offensive fouls then because he did draw one on Embiid. It was in the second quarter when things were kind of it was that same stretch where Brogdon kind of heated up and Philly was having their way. There was a real bad call, I think, a few possessions before, something like that, where either Smart or Vonleh got like manhandled and the foul was on them. And then they came down and called on Embiid the next possession. And that was the one I'm thinking about.
Yeah, you're right. And he also had a nice steal on Embiid. He did Marcus stuff. Marcus Smart did Marcus Smart things, and that's what you need from him. So it was good to see. What else? I want to talk about backup bigs. I know we touched on Vonleh, but I want to talk about Vonleh and Griffin a little bit. I wrote an article about them for Celtics blog. I don't think it's out yet, but essentially my angle was this was about as bad of a first game test for them as you could possibly ask for. You're forcing a guy who played in China last year and a guy who's 4 or 5 years past his prime to start their new roles as the backup big guys against Joel Embiid with Al Horford in foul trouble early. So you're asking Vonleh to play 20 minutes. Griffin only played 8, but he got thrown in there a little bit. Vonleh guarding Embiid was the second most common matchup in terms of matchup time for that game. Embiid targeted Vonleh. And he shot 3 of 6 from the field, scored 8 points. But that's not the point. The point is all you need those guys to do is be a buffer. They don't have to be good. They don't have to be great. They don't have to be a starting caliber big. All they have to do is hold down the fort so Al Horford can get his rest. And last night, I thought they did exactly that to a T.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Especially with Rob out early on here, you're going to need to get something out of those guys. I thought Blake Griffin was pretty impressive because his first possession on the floor, he ripped off 2 offensive rebounds. And would have had a third if the shot clock didn't expire. He looked motivated out there. Obviously, he's definitely past his prime, right? There's no arguing that.
But he looked good.
Doesn't mean he can't give you good things.
Yes.
Whether it's his willingness to stretch the floor, if he's going to hustle like that all the time on the offensive glass, great. He's just giving you good morale off the bench. That's fine too. He seems like somebody that there's really no negative to having him around. There's no ego there. And he's somebody that everybody likes. As far as Vonleh is concerned, he gave you a lot yesterday. Like you said, he was guarding Embiid almost the whole time. And of course, Philadelphia is going to go at him. They said, prove it. You played in China last year. You're guarding the guy that was the runner-up for the MVP. Guard him. And he was fine. Wasn't perfect. Fouled a lot. Got in foul trouble. He looked lost on offense a good amount to me. Did you catch that he looked like he didn't know where he was going on offense?
He looked a bit scrambled at times, yes.
Yeah, he just seemed to be in the way at times on offense, which I'd imagine is only going to get better.
I would hope so.
What they needed him to do was defend, and he did a decent job.
Yes.
Right? The offense will come. Not being in somebody's way will come. You'll get there. It's good for him, man. Good for him. He's back in the league. Glad to see a local guy on the team. I'm always clamoring for that. I think it's just a nice story. I love a story.
Yeah, absolutely.
Except for when I have to start hitting the keys. Right?
The thing I said, I wrote this. You need Griffin and Vonleh and Cornette when he gets playing time, if he gets playing time, to do three things. You need them to defend in the system at an adequate level. You need them to crash the glass, and you need them to not foul. I think those were the three. Then the not foul, I don't think was it. Oh, screen. You need them to set pick and rolls, picks really well for Tatum at the elbow because they did that a lot. They're doing a lot of those flare screens, as Adam Taylor taught me they're called because he's a legend. You need them to screen well, you need them to crash the glass, and you need them to defend in the system. And Vonleh, 1, 2, 3 checked all those boxes for me. And Griffin didn't really have the chance to do some of those things, but he rebounded the hell out of the ball. He finished tied for second on the team in rebounds with 5 last night in 8 minutes. So good things from both of them. I was very happy with how they did. I saw some Vonleh hate after the first stint, which is fair because he came in the game.
Yeah,
and
he looked lost.
Shaky, but
guys in my group chat were lighting Vonleh on fire yesterday. They were not happy.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, if your first test after playing in China for the year is Joel Embiid, you got to give a guy a little bit of a break. You got to give him a little bit of a break. Come on. I thought he played well.
That was one of the reasons I thought they'd lose yesterday. I just didn't think they had the staff. Quite frankly, I somebody's gonna get in foul trouble. Horford did. He was out quick, and you saw Vonleh come in. Vonleh, geez, Sam. Grant got in foul trouble. Yeah. He was out of the game until like halfway through the third quarter. It just wasn't going well, and they were solid enough to keep it from being an avalanche, and that's what they needed. Again, crucial stretches happened throughout the game, just not at the end. And the Celtics came and showed up in those crucial points of the game, and they won.
Really well. I was very.
It allowed them to break the game open.
Absolutely, and I was smiling at my phone, not Celtics related, but Miles Turner has been ruled out of the Pacers season opener after spraining his ankle during pregame warmups. that poor dude. He missed 80% of last year, and now this. It's rough scenes for Indiana. But anyways, back to the Celtics. I just thought that was an
Jack laughing at somebody hurting themselves. Take it down.
Guy needs a break. Joe Mazzulla, I want to talk about him as well. After the game, a lot of great things. I mean, interim head coach. He's now the winningest head coach in NBA history in terms of percentage. Fun fact.
Well, that's when you hang it up.
Exactly. He's got to retire 1-0, hold that record. But no, seriously, Mazzulla in the locker room afterwards, saying all the right things, presenting himself in the right manner, hyping the team up, saying, we did everything we needed to do. We can keep playing like this. We can play in so many different ways. The team pouring water on him afterwards. Everything looks like Mazzulla is going to be a phenomenal head coach for the Celtics team. And that couldn't make me happier after the rough offseason the Celtics had with the coaching staff.
Yeah, he looked comfortable. There were times in that game where things needed to stay close, adjustments needed to be made, and he did it. The rotations were fine. I didn't love that neither Tatum or Brown were in the game in the beginning of the fourth quarter.
That was dangerous. He was playing with fire, getting them some rest. But
they managed to stay afloat. And I guess now that you have Brogdon, you might be able to pull that off.
Yeah,
but
a little more creation.
In a game like yesterday, you just kind of want to put it to bed.
He played with fire. He absolutely did.
Besides that, I thought he was fine. The defense looked coherent. Right? Everything was a well-oiled machine. The shots the Celtics were getting were good. He's got plenty to do with all of that. It's good the guys are listening to him. You got to hope that they don't get burnt out. I don't think they will. I think everybody's kind of in on this. They realized how close they got last year and kind of kicked it away. They came ready to play. They came in with a chip on their shoulder. Good. That's not what I thought would happen. I'm glad I was wrong yesterday.
Yeah. I was very glad you were wrong, and I was glad I was right because I got it, and I'm hyped. But
well, now it's time for me to start being right because then I just said they're going to beat everybody.
Exactly. So speaking of that, I do want to wrap up with a little bit of a preview of the next two games. I know we talked about our predictions. I said a loss to Miami to win against Orlando. I might be feeling the Kool-Aid, drinking the green Kool-Aid a little bit. I think they should be good to go, but they can't win every game. They're not going to go 82-0, so you got to pick your spots. They got Miami in Miami, and then Orlando in Orlando. Florida road trip here. I know you've predicted 2 wins, but I want to talk about what we think some of the rotations could be like because Miami's a very different team from Philadelphia. They don't have as dominant of a big man as Embiid in terms of scoring. they've got a relatively small lineup outside of Dwayne Dedmon and Adebayo in general. So I think you could see more room for Hauser minutes. What guys are you looking to step up in these two games in terms of like the deep bench? Do you think any of those guys, Hauser, Pritchard, et cetera, could get those minutes?
I would like to see Hauser get some run because unlike Pritchard, I think Pritchard might get dealt. Unfortunately, I wouldn't like to see him leave. I like Pritchard. I think he's like got plenty of tools to be a good player. But right now, the Celtics are stacked at his position. There's no reason to play him over any of the other guys, right?
I will say, I think it's more likely they save trading him till next year because he makes like $3 million this year, and next year he'll make almost $6 million. And so if you combine $6 million or 5.8 or 5.5 or whatever he makes with Derek White deal or with Gallinari, I don't want to trade him while he's hurt. That seems a bit wrong in the grand scheme of things, but you could get towards that 20 million. Like if you combine White, Gallinari, and Pritchard next year, you can get to $30 million, right? Like you can probably bring in another good piece. And if they're paying the tax, it could be worth looking into. But regardless, I do think you're right. It could be tough for Pritchard to crack the rotation, but it's useful to have him because you have to assume Brogdon and Smart are probably going to miss a good chunk of regular season games too. So anyway, sorry, continue.
But I'm looking forward to seeing Hauser. I want to see him play some real minutes. He looked good in the preseason, looked like he was confident shooting the ball, was able to create his own shot at times, held his own on defense. There was a lot to like there. It just didn't make sense to play him against Philly. Miami's a smaller team now. You're not going to have to deal with somebody like Embiid. Bam's still a quality player, but he plays differently than Embiid does. He doesn't require the attention of the entire team. I'm also looking forward to seeing if Blake Griffin does get any more run because I think he showed you some good things in the small amount of time. He's not really playing a whole lot of defense. Don't get me wrong. But he showed you some stuff to be excited about. The hustle, someone that can stretch the floor if you need it. He didn't make a three, but he can still do it. And if nothing else, he's making guys laugh on the bench.
Yeah, he's a good locker room guy. And I saw someone tweet this. I don't remember who, but I did not expect Blake Griffin to be the one to come in and keep the vibes up. But I'm glad he did. I'm glad he is the one. That's all I got. I feel like I might be forgetting something, but I'm very happy with the season opener. Jayson Tatum, Jalen Brown both played extremely well. It was great to watch them play. I don't know if you saw the meme or not the meme, but the picture on Twitter afterwards of the fan taking a photo of Deuce instead of Tatum and saying Deuce is more famous than his dad now.
Yeah. At what point does this get weird? No, seriously. Like it's just somebody's kid. Like leave him alone.
It's funny. He's a superstar, man. Let him live the superstar lifestyle.
You think Deuce is going to be like a brat in school because he's so used to all the attention? Like when he's like actually in like kindergarten, like he's going to be a real pain in the ass for the teacher. That's where my money's at.
Maybe. Jeez.
No, like seriously, you gotta think about things. Like there's like a real world out there.
Yeah, you never know. But yeah, that's all I got. I'm gonna go watch.
I have villainized Deuce. There you go.
And I didn't think that's where we'd go this podcast, but some good games on tonight as we're recording this. I don't know if you're gonna be watching.
Will I watch them? I don't know. Baseball's on.
What? Hey, there's you're a baseball guy since when you?
Well, I like playoff baseball a lot.
Who's playing? Is it Philly?
Both games are on. The Phillies are playing now. Did this die?
Who won the Yankees game yesterday?
The Yankees won.
That's true.
So they play again today.
I can't root for anybody that comes out of the American League now. Both teams are L's. Like I don't
the
like
more
the
fun
Astros.
teams
I don't
are
like
in the National League, anyways.
Exactly. I'd be happy if the Phillies or the Padres won. Honestly,
Dodgers lost. I wanted the Cardinals win to win going into it because you had a send off for three guys playing their last year. Seattle was another team that was interesting to watch because they were kind of a surprise.
They were fun,
Cinderella type team. And
I agree.
Didn't get it done.
I think the Phillies are fun too. They haven't won in a long time. That could be fun for them. I don't know. As long as the Astros or Yankees don't win, then I won't care. I just those two and the Dodgers, you have to root against. I think it's hard not to. So that's where I'm at. But basketball, though, there are some good games on tonight, even for someone like you who doesn't necessarily like to watch.
I'm intrigued by the Detroit-Orlando game.
That's what I was going to bring up. Yeah. I have it on the side right now. It hasn't started yet. But Paolo Banchero, Cole Anthony's fun. Franz Wagner, and then your guys on the Pistons. I know you love the Pistons, but even past that, Pelicans Nets will be a fun one. I mean, even if you don't like the players, Zion.
Yeah, I was looking to bet today because I like to bet basketball, especially early in the season because people don't know what's going on yet. But this year there are so many good teams to where it's tough to bet.
It's very
like that
tough,
line on Brooklyn, New Orleans is only 3, and like Joey Public will tell you, oh, that's not what you want to see. That we had Philly's first 5 innings and they are getting beat.
Yeah, I got you.
I mean, like, you want to take the Nets at -3, but you don't know. Like, that New Orleans team is good now. Like, they should be good. They were decent to end the season last year. They're kind of deep. They have a lot of solid players. Zion looks like he's actually in shape, much to my surprise. And
yeah, he looks real good.
Yeah, he looks. I'll eat it, dude. I said I don't believe in guys coming back from being fat, and there he is. He looks slim.
He looks phenomenal.
That's an interesting game. The Phoenix game is interesting because the way the season ended last year. Believe it or not, the Knicks are the game that's on national TV.
Well, they got Ja Morant. I'll give Ja Morant the credit for that.
Yeah, Ja's fine. The line on that game is kind of close.
Yeah, outside of that, I'm excited to watch the Pacers. But I like Tyrese Halliburton, so that's my excuse there. Minnesota plays tonight. Rudy Gobert in a T-Wolves jersey. The NBA season this year is very exciting.
And the Lakers lost. I forgot. We didn't even crap on them. And LeBron's already complaining. You have we're going to talk about this. JJ Redick today saying, leave him alone pretty much. Stop being mean to LeBron is what he said. How about LeBron take some ownership of what's going on here? He is the architect of this team, and no one should be fooled by that. He shows up somewhere, and he is in on all of the moves that are made. He was in on the Westbrook thing. They were ready to go and get Buddy Hield, who would have been a better fit next to him. And he said, no, I want Westbrook, and Westbrook's been horrible. They've been Pat Bev, who I like, but not on that team. It doesn't make sense. They have all these guys that came around LeBron who serves best as a distributor or plays best when he has guys to distribute to that can shoot, as anybody would. And you have nobody around him that's going to shoot. Anthony Davis, I mean, how great is he at shooting?
Except for, who got 17 minutes off the bench?
Did Matt Ryan play well?
17 minutes. He didn't play necessarily too well. He shot 1 for 4, 1 of 3 from 3. But they were, I watched some of the game. They were running plays for Matt Ryan like the Heat did during prime Duncan Robinson. He was like a part of their offense. It was very funny, very entertaining to see. But yeah, so Matt Ryan was a big part of their game plan, which is funny. I'm rooting for Matt Ryan. I don't care if he's a Laker. I love Matt Ryan. I thought it was a great story. He's fun. So excited to watch him play.
Well, that is the duality of men.
Because I suppose so. I suppose it is. That's all I got, though. Detroit Orlando is going to tip off here soon. They're doing intros right now. If you're interested, starting Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham in the backcourt, that'll be fun. But yeah, that's all I got. Anything else you wanted to bring up before we get going?
No, I don't have anything today. I don't know. I'll tell you what, traffic sucks. I've had to start sitting in traffic now.
Brutal.
And I'm not used to that.
Mm-hmm. Traffic sucks. I agree.
I mean, I had to think about whether I wanted to pee before I left work today. I'm just used to leaving my house and nobody's on the road.
How long's your commute?
To work? I don't know, maybe 35 minutes. Home, it took me 50 minutes. 50 minutes to get home today.
Brutal. That is tough. Yeah, it takes me a while to get to my job too, man. I got to go from my bed.
Yeah, you just roll out of bed.
It's
I work from home twice a week, so that's me.
That is nice. But anyways, we appreciate you guys listening, tuning in. Like I mentioned during the middle of the show, check out the TikTok, the Instagram. We're getting some growth there. We're trying to, at the very least. YouTube Shorts too, if you're into that. We're posting YouTube Shorts.
Shorts do well,
and the videos they do well. One did 1.2K views the other day. So
it was me.
It was you. There we go. Sam's famous. But yeah, we appreciate you guys. I don't even remember.
Jalen Brown,
Grant Williams, maybe. Sam Hauser. I think it was Sam Hauser.
Okay.
Anyways, we appreciate you guys for listening. Thank you very much. I'll throw it over to Sam.
Yeah, thank you very much for listening or watching. If you're watching, you're on the How About Them Celtics YouTube channel or Boston Sports. Regardless, make sure you subscribe and follow us there. You'll get to see our pregame streams with Jack and I and an assortment of Tim or KJ joining us, or maybe neither of them, or, at least two of the four of us.
Some combination.
We promise.
Some combination.
You can also find that on Twitch. Is that How About Them C's? How About Them Celtics? What is the Twitch?
How About Them C's on Twitch? Yes.
How About Them C's on Twitch and Twitter and Instagram and TikTok.
There you go.
You can find all kinds of content there. If you don't want to get it there, you can get it from Jack and I. If you want it from Jack, you can follow him at Jack Simone NBA. He's doing all kinds of work for Heavy. And you can follow me at Sam LaFrance NBA. I tweeted a little bit during the game, not as much as Jack. Jack put up better numbers than I did. Every 5 seconds, Jack was tweeting.
Tweeting,
but I hope we made you laugh today. That's it.